welcome once again. I'm Neil Thrussell, and I'm super stoked to have Heather Strand with me, whose mission is, I love this, that she's a positive mindset coach. Because if you're going to have a mindset coach, why not pick one that's positive as opposed to a negative one? And she's wanting to help ladies create a more loving, fulfilling, intimate relationship with not with others, but more importantly with themselves. I just love that. And she's on a mission to create more positivity in the world. I love that. Welcome, welcome, Heather.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, Neil. I'm so excited to be here.
And I'm equally, as you can tell, excited to have you. And we were talking backstage or in the green room, and it was fun that you've been on a personal journey and had some hardships that you've recently had to overcome. And I'm sending you love and blessings to your shoulder to heal, and then hopefully your family members are looking after you with very well, and you don't have a bell to have to summon them. So,
Yes, they have definitely taken very good care of me. My husband has been absolutely amazing helping me through this shoulder rehab surgery. So, yes, thank you.
excellent. So enough of the now. So I'm gonna ask you to go and think back and reminisce to a time when you were in grade school, high school, when you were taking your nursing training before, or any of those opportunities then, and feel into whether you had a version of success or not, and what it may have looked like for the younger version of you. What do you think success looked like for a younger version of you?
When I think of success, like going through nursing school, I think of having all A's and being on honor roll and being having that 4.0 average and um, trying to prove to myself that I was smart enough and that I could do it. And in my mind, that's how I proved to myself that I could do it, by getting those straight A's all the time and doing incredibly well. Now
So,
I know that is, now it's completely different.
ah, so back then, when you chose to be a nurse, was it an inside influence or an outside influence? Were there loving, compassionate parents that said, you know, Heather, you should be a nurse? Or was it just something within you that said, hey, I want to be a nurse?
I had, growing up in high school, I had this one teacher. Her name was Mrs. Haddock. She passed away probably quite a few years ago. And she was pivotal in influencing me and my career path to become a nurse.
Ah, so it was a little bit of outside influence that just sort of pointed you in there, but internally. So somebody said you ultimately had the choice. Somebody said you should be a nurse. Was there a calling to do it, or it was just like, yeah, okay, I could do this?
It was a calling. It was a calling. Yeah. I definitely, I loved helping people. I'd always, ever since from when I was young, used to be called my sister's little mom. And so I'd always had that calling of wanting to nurture and just help people. And so, yeah, I definitely think it was a calling. So, yeah.
Oh, and I specifically used the word calling because on your website that you've chosen to help, uh, or you was previous to Christian women. So it was like within that's why I chose to use the word a calling, because then it's for those that know that there is a spiritual calling for a lot of things, and people do. So it doesn't matter your faith. And it was just, yeah, it's there is sometimes we just know that we're drawn to do something, and it's just, and in your case, God was helping you along.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now let's jump over to your current life and we all know that it was straight. There was no bumps and curves in the road. You went from school to where you are now, and all of a sudden you inadvertently needed surgery, so you had to go. It was not there was not a problem issue. It was just you wanted to take surgery just because to know what it was like to be a patient. This version of you, if you were to to come up with a definition, a thought, or a feeling around what success means to you right now. And it can change tomorrow, but here right now, what does success mean to you?
Here, right now, what I have learned in the last 5 years is success, it all comes from within. You can climb that ladder at work and you can be the highest paid person on the planet and still not feel like you have the success. And in order to really feel like you are successful, it's got to come from in here and it's got to be about how you feel about your life. Because once you feel that your life is successful, your relationships are successful, you inner is successful, the outer world is going to come into play and everything is going to come into play after that.
Oh, Heather, you telling me I have to take a look at myself and do the touchy feely, the little get to know myself? I just can't go out and just be successful.
Yeah, I used to think it was that way, but it truly isn't. If you look at all most successful people, it comes from having that mindset of being successful, and it comes from doing the work, and it comes from doing the hard things, and it comes from learning from those roadblocks, and it's never a fail. It's always a first attempt in learning. So what can you learn from all of those struggles that can move you forward? Because the only time you're not successful is when you choose to stay stuck and not move forward, even if it's one little baby step.
But I don't want to give up the nice cushy couch that I'm on.
Yeah. I know. I was thinking about that this morning, laying in bed. I'm like, oh, it's so nice and comfy, but comfy is not always good. It's getting out of that comfort zone and stepping into the unknown, and stepping into the unknown with faith in yourself and faith in the universe and faith in God that you can accomplish whatever you choose to accomplish, and to be that successful person. And it doesn't have to be money. It can be an amazing, like I said, I know, right? What a shocker. It can be an amazing relationship. It can be it's so different than just money. Like I think we focus on so much.
I'm being facetious here, but I think I just heard the U.S. Passport Office cancel your citizenship. That goes against that everybody affectionately, or and some not affectionately, say is what drives the American dream.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful for saying that, because what you insinuated is that we need to get off that dream. Money is worthy, money is good to have, but people need to find out what their heart wants.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I'm going, and then you lost me when you wanted me to do all the hard work, and it's like, no. And I
No,
think,
Neil, but if you look at any truly successful person, they've come through obstacles, they've done the hard work, and they've figured out ways to get through those obstacles. And that's the only way to truly be who you were meant to be.
no, LeBron James was just born talented, and he never practiced once.
Was it Michael Jordan? I believe it was Michael
Yes,
Jordan that said, I never lost a game. I just always ran out of time.
absolutely. And yeah, he was trusted with 5,000 shots that he didn't make or something like this.
Yeah.
And yeah, and as I had said on previous uh, interviews, it's a good thing that we don't put off learning to walk and trust adults to have to be the ones to learn to walk. Because I don't know where it is within our nature that we try once, maybe twice, and then we give up. And me personally, I think that's the sign of success is when you don't give up after the first or second or third or fourth try. There's this story that goes around that Thomas Edison, who perfected the incandescent light bulb, tried something like 8, 9, 10,000 different times. And could you imagine 10,000 different times to bake a cake or something? We like, ah, and it was just, yeah, spending time to do the work is was wonderful. So I'm going to ask you, pick someone, anyone that you think is very successful, ultra successful, high level of successful. It could be in any genre, anyone. It could be whoever. What do you think is a step that they're doing, a process that they're doing uh, that an average person isn't doing? They could be in the same field, and but they're not doing that is holding them back from success.
Two people come to mind actually. Donald Driver, who is my all-time favorite football player, Green Bay Packer, and Mel Robbins. And the reason I admire those two and I think those two are so successful is because they both went through significant life struggles. And if you listen to Mel Robbins or if you read Donald Driver's book, like these struggles they literally hit rock bottom at one point.
Hmm.
But they were able to get themselves out because they leaned on their support system and
Okay.
they looked at their resources. And that is, I think the biggest factor in success is leaning on your support system and asking for that help and that support to get you through whatever struggle you are having. So I think so often we have this mindset, I got to do it by myself. I got to prove that I can do it. I got to prove that I can do it. And if you lean on your support system, you will be amazed at how much faster and how much support you actually have.
Absolutely. And I, one of the men that belongs to PTP and P1, which is a group that for our viewers and listeners that Heather and I belong to, he gifted me something, and it was of a significant value, and I was like, no, I can't accept it. And he's like looks at me, and he's going, and what's going on with this? And I realized it was within me that no, this strong, independent Neil had to show up. It had, no, I got to do it. And then it was just like, okay, I will.
Yeah.
So I love that, yeah, that, so what you succinctly, you're saying that successful people in your examples, they relied on their support system. So they had a support system that they could trust and that would uplift them, as opposed to, we all have that support system somewhere, or we stumbled upon it where they were the finger, you can't do that. But not everyone has the support system where it uplifts us and holds us and walks with us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So if you were to go back and talk to your younger self, what do you think you could help along the way, what would you just, what kind of things would you want your younger self to know? Whether she listens to it or not is entirely different. But what do you think you would like to have shared with your younger self to help her along and to be a little more successful?
Wow, that's a really good question. I would have to say I would tell her that um, not to focus on the thoughts of other people and what other people tell you you can't do, and instead focus on what you can do. And remember that it's going to be two steps forward and one step back, and two steps forward and one step back. But as long as you are moving forward, you are winning. And I think the other thing I would tell her is there's going to be struggles in life. And it's how you lean on your support system and how you learn within yourself um to get over those struggles and get through those struggles and figure out a different path. The path is not going to be easy, and it's just a roadmap, and there's going to be detours along the way.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. And yeah, it's an unfair question because we didn't talk about it in the back room. And thank you for the beautiful answer. Because yeah, and yeah, was wonderful. So the ugly part of all of this is we're almost out of time. It's like, oh, sorry, Heather, but we're out of time. And if you could leave some words of wisdom, or asking you to leave some words of wisdom for our current viewers and our viewers and listeners that will get this on replay, what would you like to leave with them or for them?
Something I always tell my clients, I always tell everybody that I come in contact with, believe that you can achieve, because when you listen with your heart and when you trust your gut and trust the universe and God, absolutely anything is possible.
Wonderful. So I'd like to thank you for spending the time upright and having to put on clothes to with a sleeve on it, because so thank you, and I want to thank you for being with us, and I once again wish you a speedy recovery.
Thank you. And thank you so much for this opportunity. I am so grateful and thankful that I'm able to speak with you and talk with you about this subject.
Thank you.